So as we've been tracking here, there have been a lot of questions about what exactly unfolded in Rehoboth Beach when Joe Biden resigned, dropped out of the presidential race, of course, maintaining his spot in the presidency, but dropping out of the presidential race. He is reportedly sick with COVID and has not actually been visibly seen in public since this stunning decision to drop out of the race. This has sparked a lot of conjecture and conspiracy about maybe it really wasn't him. Maybe he's so unwell he can't even do this anymore. Perhaps he's even already passed away, or he's locked in the basement and it was some intern who got control of his account who put out this letter and then the endorsement of Kamala Harris. So Joe Biden decided yesterday to call in to the Kamala Harris sort of rally and campaign speech at what was Biden HQ, now Harris HQ, probably in part seeking to put to bed some of these rumors about where he's been and what he's up to. So he calls in to this rally, but this has not come close to killing the rumors about where is Joe Biden and the conspiracies and conjecture about where is Joe Biden because of a unfortunate slip up from Kamala Harris, who seems to come close to calling the phone call a recording instead of a live call. This was seized on by many online. Let's take a listen to how that went down.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. Oh.
So this is the latest evidence being entered into the theory that he is, I don't know, gone, no longer locked in the basement, whatever it is. Let's put this up on the screen. This is like, one of the main tweets with the timeline that has gone viral, backing up this conspiracy. Let's recap this historic day. It says Joe Biden suddenly resigns via Twitter. White House staff find out 1 minute later. Joe Biden resignation letter is not on official letterhead. The Biden signature is suspect. Steve Ricchetti helped write the letter. I'm not sure why that is suspicious.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he's his top aide for years. Anyway, Jill Biden tweets heart emoji response. Also not sure why that's suspicious. White House wipes Biden's schedule. White House chief of staff calls cabinet, manages comms. Frank Biden confirms health is a factor. Family suggests Biden may have terminal illness. I'm not sure what that refers to. Joe Biden holds no live press conference. Where is Joe? Just another perfectly normal day in Biden's America. Let's put the last piece up on the screen here. A bunch of high-profile figures, like Bill Ackman in particular, has been going wild with this, retweeting these sorts of accounts and, just going kind of all in on the where's Joe direction line of inquiry. Alex Berenson here saying this isn't good. The End Wokeness account saying Biden dropped down over 4 hours ago, yet we literally have zero evidence that he knows about it. Not even a photo. The paperwork has already been filed. The campaign cash is being transferred. Endorsements for Kamala are pouring in, yet we have no clue who sent that post. Ryan, what it is, I will say, he should probably appear in public at this point because it is getting a little bit like, okay, for real, what are you doing? But what I think the most likely explanation is he does have COVID.
Right. He
is bitter and pissed off at everyone and doesn't really want to have to do anything anymore, just wants to hang out at his beach house in Rehoboth and sow his resentment. But anyway, what do you make of all this?
It feels very weird until you consider exactly those two key points. The one key point, we know he has COVID, or he has said he has COVID. We have no reason to believe he doesn't have COVID because he wanted to show that he was able to go out on the campaign trail, and getting knocked off the campaign trail helped lead to his demise, which is something he didn't want, so why would he stage that? As an old man with COVID, he would have appeared like even more decrepit than usual. Mm-hmm. And his speech where he announces his resignation, he knows is going to be one of the most watched speeches in looking back at him from the future.
Yeah.
Just like we've all seen LBJ's clip of saying, I shall not seek and I will not accept the nomination of my party in 1968. We've all seen that by hundreds of times just put in front of us. We've seen him say that more than people who weren't alive then have seen that more than they've seen anything else.
True.
So he doesn't want to be the guy with COVID who can barely speak in that clip. But Secondly, consider this. You always have to ask yourself if you're theorizing your conspiracies, who benefits? Democrats would love it if Joe Biden would resign, or not to be macabre, but even die, because then Kamala Harris becomes president. And she then goes in with these incumbency advantages without the disadvantages of having been the president for the rest of the terms. You can't blame her for the rest of that stuff. It's very difficult for people to envision a black woman as president of the United States. Having her serving as president of the United States would help get her over that hump. So they would like that. So why would they have that opportunity in front of them, but then engage in some conspiracy to cover it up? So that's where the Bill Ackman conspiracy and Laura Loomer and all that just kind of falls apart.
Yeah. Well, what I appreciate about it is that, like, it's going to get disproven in like 2 days when he is back in D.C. and meets with Bibi Netanyahu. You know,
or he dies, because everybody dies.
Oh, that's true.
At which point Kamala Harris becomes president, and Democrats will be happy that she became president.
Yeah,
and they will mourn President Biden.
That has been one of the things too, because you now have a drumbeat of, like, you know, J.D. Vance and these people who are saying he should resign. And I don't really understand the tactical consideration there.
Careful what you wish for there.
Because it actually would benefit, I think it would definitely benefit Kamala Harris to serve as president. I think Joe Biden should resign too. I actually agree with that, because I think the fundamental point of, if you're not fit to serve another 4 years, how can you, given what we've seen of you, make the case you're fit to serve today? I think that's entirely fair and legitimate. I just don't think it particularly serves their political interest to really push hard on that point. But they probably don't expect that he actually will resign. And so it's more of a ploy to illustrate that there was this cover-up of his condition, which I also think is true and a legitimate question that Kamala Harris is going to have to grapple with, of what did you know of his decline and what were you hiding from the American public? Now, fortunately for her, she was very much on the outskirts of the Biden administration. Like, I don't think she was seeing him all that regularly. I think she was sort of shut out of that circle of close aides after they felt that she didn't handle herself well, and she didn't handle herself well, especially in the early days of the administration. She's not one of these who's had this long-term relationship with Joe Biden, and that, in the end, was effectively those were the only people who had any access to him over the past roughly year. We keep getting these anecdotes. There was a new one that came out that the last time he met with congressional Democrats was back whenever they were trying to pass the infrastructure deal. Like, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was years ago. Was the last time that he met with congressional Democrats. And the meeting, his talk was such a disaster.
Yeah, 21, right before the Virginia elections.
He forgot even, that's right. He forgot even to make the pitch he was supposed to make for the $1 trillion infrastructure package. It was completely disjointed and garbled to the point that after he left, Nancy Pelosi had to come and clean it up and say this is what he meant to say. And since then, that was it. He never met with them again. We also learned what he hadn't met with his cabinet in some 9 months, because the last time he met with them, they insisted that every cabinet member submit to them exactly, precisely what they were going to say, and told them, here are the questions that Joe Biden is going to ask you. It was 100% totally pre-scripted. So there are a lot of questions about, you know, all of these people and how they're implicated in a cover-up of Joe Biden's health. But yeah, I think this theory, it's also partly Republicans they didn't think that Joe Biden was going to step down. Right. They thought he was going to hang in there. And they're kind of spinning their wheels right now about how to grapple with, you know, he's out, and now we have like a candidate who can speak and who has some enthusiasm behind her, and is still a weak candidate, but we actually are going to have to run a race. Maybe J.D. Vance was not the greatest pick at the vice presidential. And so I think this is part of the spinning of the wheels that Republicans are doing right now to cope with the moment also.
Yeah, they haven't found their footing yet.
Not yet.
Sure.
They will.
Yes.
They will, yeah. Some of the things they've been saying about Kamala Harris.
A harlot.
Yeah, and her childlessness and whatever are really off the rails as well. So I think maybe you and Emily, I think it'd be interesting for you guys to talk about that tomorrow on Counterpoints.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.